again, Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. Thank you so much for joining us. As we always do before we get started, we just want to thank you all for the support over the years. Thank you for supporting Search for Uhuru. Thank you for supporting Dynasty Mirror. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the content. Again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the content. There's almost 83. Hold on. We're almost at 84,000 of you. There's almost 84,000 of you. With that being said, if each one of you were to share a video, just one video, we'll be at like 200, almost 200,000 subscribers. All right. So guys, make sure you share the content. Make sure you hit that like button as you come to the chat room. Also, go to dynastymirror.com. Again, go to dynastymirror.com while you're there. Again, there's almost 84,000 of you, so I need you to buy a shirt. Africa is the Now shirt. Go to dynastymirror.com and buy an Africa is the Now shirt. And then make sure you buy a book. Okay, go and buy a children's book. I've written several children's books, so you guys need to go and support and buy a book. Also, tour Sierra Leone, April 21st to the 30th. Again, Sierra Leone, April 21st to the 30th. For those who are interested in joining us, please go to searchforuhuru.com or go to Uhuru or email me uhuru@searchforuhuru.com and I will send you the details. Again, I will send you the details. Go to uhuru@searchforuhuru.com and I will send you the details for the tour April 21st to the 30th to Freetown, Sierra Leone. We're gonna have a great time. So guys, if you want to join us, let me know. And then become a monthly Patreon. Patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Again, patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Become a monthly Patreon. Everybody, please support with your dollars. Please do, so we can continue and grow the platform. Today's topic. So, this came across my my timeline the other day, and it kind of hit close to home because the pastor of this church, St. Paul's Baptist Church in Sacramento, California, is right around the corner from my high school, Christian Brothers High School, which is off of MLK. So if you guys are familiar with Sacramento, I went to Christian Brothers High School off of MLK, and then this church, St. Paul's Baptist Church, is right off of 12th Avenue, I believe it is. Is that 12th Avenue? I forgot, but it was one of the, I remember when this church was being built, and this was I'll say this is probably the largest black, in fact, to this day, this might be the largest black church, and even one of the largest churches in Sacramento. So I remember the hype behind the church when it's being built. This is probably, let's see, I started Christian Brothers at 1996. I want to say St. Paul was probably finished in 1993 or 1992, something like that. And I remember I never been inside the church, but everybody was excited about the church because there's an elevator in the church, I believe. I'm not sure, don't hold me to that, but the hype was there's an elevator in a church, and people are like, whoa. So, and if you guys are familiar with Oak Park, now Oak Park is somewhat being gentrified now, but there's not much in Oak Park. It's the hood. So you have this big, beautiful church in the middle of the hood. So, you know what? Let me introduce my guest. My bad, Fajimani. My bad, brother. My bad. Fajimoni.
I'm here.
Okay, you just turned your camera off. Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself. My bad, bro. I got ahead of myself. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
How y'all doing? Peace. Bawoni. Fajimoni Oriomi. A teacher of many different African spiritualities. Entrepreneur. Traveled to Africa, had a great time with Surfing Uhuru. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Fajimoni went to Nigeria with us August 2019 for the first tour to Nigeria. Brother came with us. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, great tour. Everything was great, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all again. I'm just ready to get into the topic. It's so much I can't say by myself, but you know, it's about the show and the people. Let's get it.
All right, so let me just go through this article real quick. So, excuse me. Lawsuit alleges Sacramento pastor sexually abused stepdaughter for years. All right, Lee's attorney said the lawsuit's goal is to hold the accused responsible along with receiving some form of justice. Let me go ahead and share the screen, you guys. Let me go ahead and share the screen, everybody. Hold on one second. Bam, there we go. Bam. All right, so Sacramento, California, my hometown. If you guys don't know, I was born and raised in Sacramento, California. I was born Albert Horton Hollis II, Sacramento, California, South Side, 21st and Florin was my stopping grounds. Went to Calvary Christian School off of 47th and went to Christian Brothers High School off of MLK. And thank you, brother. The church is off of 14th Avenue. I thought it was 12th, but it's off of 14th Avenue. Now, back in the day, you know, when I used to live in South Sac, off of 14th Avenue, because 14th Avenue turns into Sutterville when you cross over Fruit Ridge. Is that Fruit Ridge? No, when you cross over Franklin. I believe when you cross over Franklin, it turns into no, you cross over Fruit Ridge or Franklin, one of those streets. Franklin. When you cross over Franklin, you get by William Lamb Park. It turns into Sutterville, I believe, by Sac City, the junior college. But on 14th Avenue, you have Oak Park Market, and me and my mom used to go over there on Sundays and get chitlins. You get fresh chitlins at Oak Park Market. That's where we used to go, off of 33rd Street and 14th. So yeah, so this kind of brings back memories. So this article kind of hit close to home because I'm very familiar with the area because it's my old stopping grounds. Gianna Lee says she was molested and raped by her stepfather for years as her mother and officials at the church he pastored covered up the abuse. Let me ask you this, brother. Oh, in fact, you're in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
So, R. Kelly. From my understanding, everybody knew R. Kelly was a Chester. From my understanding, he was the parents of the kids that he molested, or the kids of the parents of the kids. Okay, whatever. That he molested. A lot of them settled out of court, from my understanding. And a lot of them are taking that settlement money and blowing it pretty much on trips, cars, weaves. Am I right or wrong? I mean, am I right or wrong?
I mean, I wasn't there, but that's some of the things I've heard as well. And in Chicago mainly, but you know, across the U.S. And we don't know about overseas. But I wasn't there. I don't know what the man did, just to make sure y'all understand.
Now, but what's consistent is the mothers knew that their daughters were being molested by R. Kelly, and a lot of them did not act accordingly, from my understanding. And it even from just as I've gotten older, you've had situations where daughters were getting the same situation like we have right here. And the mothers knew, but did not do anything. Now, Fajimoni, and guys, women who are watching this, I'm going to open up the lines here shortly, and I'd love to hear from you guys, from the women who are watching this. I'd love to hear from you guys. Should the women also be complicit when stuff like this happens if they're hiding it? Fajimoni.
I mean, yeah, it's an accomplice. Like, just because that's the parent, you know, there were other people implicated in that case from what I've read. Other males, other people in the industry implicated with hiding things from that time, including with pastors, and you know, they were implicated as accomplices. So the only difference would be, okay, you're the parent or aunt, uncle, whatever case may be. but they did the same thing that other people whom they charged, they participate in the same thing as well. So yes, they should be implicated. There's also some fathers involved in that as well, actually.
Okay. And again, I want to get the feedback from women as well on this topic. So pretty soon we're gonna open up the lines. And guys, hit that like button. In the lawsuit, Lee, now 37, alleges that the abuse by her stepfather, John Bernard Black Sr., began in 1994 when she was 11 years old. At the time, Black pastored at the prominent St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church in Sacramento, which has a congregation of 5,000. The 14-page lawsuit details allegations against Black, accusing him of raping his stepdaughter several times a week at their family home and in a car in the parking lot of the St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church where he worked. Golly. My client was repeatedly sexually abused by her stepfather during her childhood and her teenage years, said Sean Tillis, the attorney representing Lee in the suit, and multiple people knew about it but failed to take steps to protect her. Wow. Others accused in the lawsuit include the St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church's retired longtime pastor, Ephraim Williams, and Lee's mother, Kelly Adrian Black. The suit alleges multiple allegations of sexual assault, emotional distress, and negligence. Black was the campus pastor for the Center of Praise East Church in Sacramento. He resigned Tuesday after news of the allegations. Wow. He started working for the church this year. ABC 10 reached out to the St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church officials representing Ephraim Williams and the Center of Praise Church for comment. We have not heard back. Tillis said Lee wants to hold those people responsible, hoping to receive some form of justice, closure, and to protect others from becoming victims. The suit is only possible because of changes to California law through Assembly Bill 218, which was approved in October 2019. The new law extended the time a person has to file for damages if they were victims of childhood sexual assault. Previous law only allowed victims to file suit until the age of 26. And I guess that's the case right there. So Fajimoni, this is my problem. We have case after case after case of examples like this one going on in the church. But when you bring it up, people make excuses for it. But for some reason, when it comes to African spirituality, they will fall and find the smallest, pettiest, I would say, misinformation about it and leverage that to call it evil. But we have continued to defend this church, this institution that has not, I mean, I don't know what. So prime example, St. Paul. Okay, the neighborhood is in Oak Park. I can speak on that because I mean, I pretty much grew up in that neighborhood. That's where my school was at. Being gentrified, I would say the Black people were still in that neighborhood, impoverished. So what have we gained from the church? And why do we continue to defend this institution? And like I said, this, like the church itself is huge, right?
Yes.
And it's in the middle of the hood, but it's huge.
All churches, like, I would say the first thing to do, I wouldn't go at the institution of the church. It's the culture of the church. You got the church, people, spirituality, and religion, but then that's the business of the church. These are people who have gained much money and property across the world. These are people who are involved in the transatlantic slave trade. These are people who are involved in during Jim Crow. So you got the church, but you got the church as an organization, which makes money, moves money, protects things with trust, and then you have the church that's based on people's spirituality. So it's kind of a duality, if you ask me.
Okay. Now, brother, you were, I guess, Christian. You were in the Nation of Islam. Can you share with us your journey?
I've been Christian in probably 3 or 4 ways. I've been Baptist, Catholic, Kojic, Church of God in Christ. I was baptized about 3 times. my journey led me next to the Hebrews, and then the Nubian Islamic Hebrews of the Malachi Z. York. It was then Imam Isa al-Hadi al-Mahdi. Then
Brother, how old are you?
You gonna set me up on that on the show?
Yeah, how old are you? Nubian Islamic Hebrews. How old are you?
40s.
Okay, it's not okay. You're still young. Okay.
Yeah, but
You must have said.
Chicago. That was community in Chicago. You know, New York, Atlanta. The community was like.
But you must have been with the Nubian Islamic Hebrews back when you was what, 18?
No, I was 12. I
left. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you were young. Yeah.
Yeah, I left Christianity at 12. Well, not left. I look at it like graduating. You get an associate's degree, you get a bachelor's, you know, things that I already have. You go on and on with life. You graduated. You still keep, you know, if you get a PhD, you still keep your master's. You still keep your bachelor's. You still keep your AA or whatever you got for your associates. So in my journey, I see it the same way. I graduated from spot to spot. But I saw a commonality and a common issue. So I've been in the Moore Science Temple, and I'm now at EFA, in African spirituality. I've been in Palo. So in that journey, I just found one of the largest problems was culture. In the African spirituality, it comes with culture. But African spirituality is not just Vodun, Ifa, or Khan. African spirituality is in the Bible consistently. Where the Bible, Christianity mentions Africa, Ethiopia, Egypt are mentioned the most times in the Bible. Anybody can look it up. They're mentioned the most times in the Bible. So the issue I found was culture. I was learning esoterics. I was learning everything I can do in these places, but there was an identity, a spiritual identity missing that also melds with our culture. And when you see this rape culture like you see in countries like European countries that's flagrantly running, I wouldn't say it's the entire institution of the Christian church. I would say it's the supremacy, it's the white supremacy that runs rampant in that church and has always run rampant in that church. So that would be my answer to that portion and hopefully my journey.
Now, were you in the Nation of Islam? You said you were, or?
Yes, Mossberry Young, Chicago headquarters.
How was your experience in the Nation of Islam?
My experience was great. It was the most disciplined I've ever been. They taught me about self. I was young. They taught us hygiene, health. They taught us how, you know, but you don't have, I had brothers, but, you know, they were more into doing their thing in the streets, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that if that's where you live. I've always wanted a spiritual journey. I've been chasing God, what they call God, my entire life. And the Nation treated me very well. They taught me things that, you know, how to wear a suit, hygiene, my spirituality, how to pray, how to eat to live, how I should be treated as a male, how I should treat females. So that actually changed my life and took me out of what they would call, some people say, street tribe or gang leader. The Nation on board. The Nation is very good at taking someone from the streets and getting them on the straight and narrow and to the discipline of the world or discipline of self. So it was a great experience for me.
So what made you shift, you know, from, you know, Christian, Nubian, Islamic Hebrew, Nation of Islam to where you're at now? What caused that shift?
There was no spirituality there. In that shift, I found myself calling on the ancestors. And I learned about DNA. And I learned about who I am. When I learned my family history, who we are, where we come from. I realized that most people, every book, every religion I was in, the first thing they say when you open the Bible is Adam and Eve begat Cain, Abel, Seth, begat Abraham, begat Isaac, Ishmael. Those are some people, those are people's ancestors. I was praying using somebody's ancestors that I had no proof to. People from ancient Iraq, people from Mesopotamia, people from Ur of Chaldeans. Those are the people that I mentioned when you open up the books in the Bible. And nearly every section always go back to their ancestors. But I've always found people having a problem with who our direct ancestors are. So even in the Nation of Islam, they're not wrong stating that we are the Asiatic black man, cream of the planet Earth, gods of the universe. But Asiatic, that's a mixture of Africa and Asia. Everyone comes from Africa. Everyone. So there was a shift in that of me studying that, okay, Asiatic, we moved from Africa to Asia. Why can't I just mention my ancestors, use the power of who we are? That's our power. I can't call on a white man God, and I can't expect the ancestors of my oppressors to come and help me. I mean, explain that to me, Dynasty. You have to answer that for me. How do we expect the ancestors of our oppressors to come and help us? We're praying to them. We're saying their name, and we keep finding ourselves. It's 500 years. It's too long, my brother.
Right.
So you tell me, in a journey like that, why should we stay stuck?
Right.
And suffer the same thing over and over.
Yeah, we shouldn't. Yeah, we shouldn't stay stuck. But now, what I just read, the article I just read, as far as this story, I mean, I feel like this is kind of common now. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, our history with them, since they come to the continent, there's been rape. They sent their missionaries first, brother. This is not an attack on the institution. This is the culture of the people. The new missionaries were just becoming Christians. Christianity wasn't even settled when those missionaries came in over time in Africa. It wasn't even settled. So whatever background they came from, they brought that with them, as well as their diseases. So they brought their culture. They put their culture into a package of religion. And the deepest question is, the Bible was invented in Alexandria, what they call Alexandria, Egypt, by the Greeks. It was invented there amongst the Nubians and amongst the Ethiopians. We read in King James Bible over here in America and other places, when the actual church, the first one, the Orthodox churches were in Ethiopia. You have Amharic Bible, you have Ethiopian Bible. Jesus, by the Bible story, was hiding out in Egypt, Ethiopia, Nubia, all those kingdoms were together. Sudan, today, I'm using today's names for yesterday. That's where Jesus came from. So why are we using the King James Bible, King James institution, things with their culture, their history in it, their faces, when the Ethiopians have always had a Bible, always had the oldest church in the world, look it up. But people here choose to follow King James, who was in a European royal line. They choose to have those images. But now that I want to let them know there's an option for you, because I'm not against whatever you are, you can be that. But make sure it's African centered. Christianity is African. The word is Greek. Essence, it is African. They use African rituals. They have altars. They've had sacrifices. They still do them to this day, actually. You can name one of today's religion. I can show you where to do a sacrifice. But I'm gonna go ahead and wait for you. And so I'm sure someone's gonna say something in the audience. So I'm waiting for them so I can show them that a lot of us Black folks are not even fully initiated, integrated into what they say they are when it's in religion. When you're a Muslim, you take your Shahada. A lot of Black folks don't know what Akikah is. Akikah is the naming ceremony and birth ceremony where they slay an animal and give the name. And a lot of us were calling ourselves Muslims, but we didn't get the full rights to that. A lot of people, we're calling ourselves things and using other people's culture where we're not even getting full rights. So I can start with that. We got Hebrews out here who are not having all of their ceremonies and rites. You got Christians out here who have not actually fathomed how deep Christianity goes. You got Catholics out here that don't know that on Easter there's a lamb still being sacrificed. But when it comes to an African, you call it an African name, you call it an African ancestor, it's something wrong with it when it's yours, when it's you. Now you can't see where the sickness comes from. They're in here with your children. Most of the people that are victims of theirs are the people they feel like are most not watched enough. Black women, sons of single mothers. They attack the weak as they've done over history. It's never stopped. What has to happen, we have to stop it by coming into ourselves and calling on our ancestors And if you can't do that, just find the African-centered part of your Christianity. Find the African part of your Islam. Find the African part of your Buddhism. And be that God and goddess you are. I see to you.
So as far as the article, the story, like it's just again, there's so many layers to it. Though the mom allegedly knew she didn't do anything about it, and you see that's kind of common in situations like this, especially when it's in a home, and a lot of times when it's a stepfather. How should this be properly handled when we have examples of stuff like this?
I mean, what do you mean proper? Because I can say that proper is, hey, your question is proper. I mean, I'm not about to go to turn the other cheek way, but they're in a culture that teaches them to be wicked. And I don't mean, I'm not attacking Christian culture. So what they are practicing is not Christian culture per se. It's not what they think it is. They're practicing white supremacy packaged up in the Bible. So what should be done with those people, they need to, I mean, they can go to law enforcement way, sit in the jail, sit in the court, tear down the whole church. The whole church should be gone. The entirety.
No, you know they're not gonna get rid of the church.
I mean, I'm saying that denomination. I mean that denomination. Like they have board meetings, brother. They're having board meetings. They're supposed to have board. They have a board. The board can dissolve. They probably just gonna move their pastor out the way, move whoever's involved to some other place if the law does not do anything. So what do we do as a people when the law doesn't do anything?
Well, the law can't do anything. This is more like a civil case, I think. Like a
law.
Why
is it a civil case?
Because it happened so long ago.
Man, see, and that's what we're talking about. That comes from the culture of, okay, let's flip it. Let's say that happened to a white child by a black pastor. So this pastor, I'm taking it as black. The children are black, correct?
Right.
Okay, white child, black pastor. What do you think the white community is going to do to that man? They're Christians. The Ku Klux Klan is Christians. What have they historically done if they said you was a white woman? They were all Christians, but yet they lynched anybody who was of African descent who was said to do something like that, whether you were a pastor or not. If that were a white child, what that black pastor did that to, the entire law would be in on this. Now we back to the same thing we've been at with, I'm not even gonna say any of the names of the victims of police brutality or of lynching and things of that nature. Because we're still back in, it's the same thing. It's their culture. And now we got people inflicted it on their own people and destroying our community, calling themselves something that's supposed to be righteous, doing the most unrighteous acts. They are a reflection of their government, or Brother Malcolm said, case of the chickens coming home to roost. So to answer your question, what should be done? If they were white, if it was a white child, a white parent, the people would have been lynched that minister. I'm not telling them to go lynch him. I'm not saying it's not spiritual. I'm a human being as well, or I'm a spirit having a human experience. And something needs to be done other than a civil case. It's civil cases for our people, but they would have dragged that man somewhere if there were white people, and I mean white Christians. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right. God, especially women, specifically women. Women, if you could please call in. All right, I got some questions. Call in Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. Again, women, call in. I just want to get your feedback. And again, hit that like button. Hit the like button. Like, share, and subscribe. You guys, again, as you come to the chat room, please hit that like button. And once again, women, I want specifically women to call in. Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. I got some questions. I got some questions for you guys. So what's really going on in Chicago, Father Maloney?
What do you mean? As far as what? Like
you know what they show us as far as what's going on in the South. Yeah, the violence. There you go.
I mean, again, their culture. There's 77 neighborhoods in Chicago. 77. Most of that stuff is happening in 7 neighborhoods, and it's always in a place that's impoverished, and it's always in a place where there are more vulnerable parts of the population where these things happen. You go to that place, you pretty much know what you happen. Like if I go to California, I pretty much know where I'm rolling to. So it's the same. It's 7 neighborhoods, and if everything that has educated you, and I'm talking about Chicago, if everything that's educated you tells you to hate yourself, then it's easy for you to just hate yourself and hate those who look like you. If my religion tells me that I'm beneath who I am because I'm not white, like whatever I think my prophet or savior is, then I have a less like for myself and those that look like me. They have a high respect. This stuff I watch in Chicago, it's a lot of gentrification. I see there'll be what they call wars from person to person, group to group, clique to clique. And at the same time, they're having wars where another black comes past another black. That male mainly is going to be a male getting attacked, or that female may get attacked. I've seen Asian people walking their dogs. I've seen white people riding their bikes. Everybody that's come in, the only one that's suffering most are impoverished blacks. That's what's happening in Chicago. Lack of jobs. They fight for us having anything. I mean, the lottery used to be black. Chicago was real big with the lottery. Chicago has a big history on the lottery, what they call black mobs. They won't let blacks into the weed industry in Chicago. It's just a lot of poverty and a lot of pushback against black people when they try to come up. This political machine will keep you down. Even the gun rights in Chicago, they try to tell you that you got to be unarmed when they're also reporting that everyone else is shooting you down. So it's politically stamped into the political structure of Chicago to keep this going. That's my explanation to you. That's their culture. It's the history of it. I can tell you, this has been the history for the longest. The news is just putting it in front of the world. Our history, Chicago was founded by mobs.
All right.
So what you expect? I mean, those mob families still run this thing.
No. Hold on. Chicago was actually founded by a black man, a Haitian.
I mean the political structure, but yes, it was founded by DuSable and the Native Americans.
Right.
So yes, the Haitian and the Native Americans did found Chicago, but Fort Dearborn, of course, they're military and missionaries. That's what they send in first to take things. The missionary check things out, go report to the military. Military moved into Fort Dearborn. Now the white folks say they found Chicago. They give love to DuSable, but they say they founded it. So they don't even let you see that face. You'll see a statue of DuSable. They'll teach you a few things, but Chicago Public School is real amped at teaching you how to be a good citizen and a good worker for white folks who are their jobs. And they also teach the same thing back on your subject with the churches. They teach you, as long as it's a white church, as long as you got a white Jesus, we're going to give them everything they need. Keep that neighborhood down. It's churches all over our neighborhood. Everywhere you see somebody, that crime happening, if you ever counted how many churches in that neighborhood, it's
every corner.
Yes, it's more churches than liquor stores.
Of course, that's how it is in just about all black neighborhoods that are impoverished.
But it's still falling, and there's still rampant violence. There are some churches that are active, and when I say churches, I mean the organizations. I'm not talking about spiritual people who work like Jesus did out there in the streets, feeding the poor, homeless. It's some spiritual churches that keep it real and keep it, as they say, 100. But then it's not that many of them. But back in the day when they were together, when they were active, because we have a good history with our church organizations helping out. And when they were active, there were a lot of the murders were down. A lot of the gangs squashed their wars inside the churches, inside the mosques. Today, the Nation of Islam still carries that work on, mainly with the help, and them and some churches carry that work on. So in Chicago, it would be great if the churches, mosques, synagogues, Buddhist temples came back together like they used to do in Chicago and combated things together. But we had more of a culture then. We had more of a, back then it was Negro culture. Noble Drew Ali, whose her headquarters right here in Chicago. He called the Moorish. He's here from Chicago. The Ethiopian, the Abyssinian Church, which is like an Ethiopian-based church, was founded in Chicago. Nation Islam headquarters is here in Chicago. I mean, pretty much everybody's headquarters are either here in Chicago or New York and California. But you got to see that it's systemic, and it's a lack of low spirituality. To keep it spiritual, we're in a very spiritual place. Chicago has a very spiritual energy. But because of that, forces know to come here and try to take that spirit down. But it's 7 neighborhoods. So the media says one thing, that's not it. It's 7 neighborhoods. I mean, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. can tell you this. We've had so many people here. So many of our heroes have been here. So I think Chicago, mainly, we get our spirituality up. It's just time for us to get back into our African selves. Because with the African way, well, you can be a Christian, like I said, and it can be African-centered. We are hurting ourselves from the culture we were taught. We were taught to hate ourselves here. They teach it in public school. They teach it in churches. They teach it in colleges. Everywhere you go, you got a black hero, they take it out your way. So Chicago is a deeper thing. It's systemic. And it's a systemic attack spiritually on the people in this place as leaders to rise up.
Now, there's this movement saying we need to protect our black women, protect black women. What are your thoughts on that?
Nzinga.
Say that again?
Nzinga.
Okay, go ahead.
Of Angola. Nzinga. Marketers, the marketers of Ethiopia. The Kandekes of Ethiopia. We have a history of black women warriors and queens. We have a history of of African obas and olordis protecting family together. How can you protect someone who goes and sends themselves into danger? And how many times should you do it when we should be protecting each other? I don't know a time where the black male has not protected the black woman. And it's always been vice versa. Our family structure was more intact. So I think that's propaganda. Somebody started that propaganda trying to make black women feel like they're not protected. That's propaganda. If you look at any pictures from the 60s, I got pictures of the 60s with Black Panther Party. Black Panther Party members were males and females. When they shot up Chairman Fred Hampton Sr.'s house, and people gonna see it on that movie when it comes out, if they show this. Chairman Fred got shot up covering his pregnant wife, Mama Aqua, who is still here in Chicago and teaches there every year, December 4th. Every year, they go in front of that building where this happened. There were Black Panther women, what's our sister, Asada Shakur, who broke out of jail. That woman got broken out of jail, she's free in Cuba. But black men don't protect black women? Or we need to protect them more? No, we need to protect each other more. What happened to us protecting each other? Even the African way, the African way. We were hunted together. We had jobs. That is supremacy and supremacy propaganda to tell our sisters that they're not being protected. It's hard to protect someone when they're being taught and drilled into their head to attack you, blame you, keep you down, take away your peace, when we should be protecting each other. That's not even a soldier's way or warrior's way, to where I'm protecting you and I'm watching you behind me, but I'm being attacked from every other direction. Now, if we go back to back and we as a family work together, there are families here in Chicago, Atlanta, they have family gun clubs, they have family martial arts lessons. Nation Islam does it. There are women MGT in the Nation Islam. There are women, female soldiers, along with male soldiers. If they had learned the African way and they be them African self, they wouldn't see it that way. I'm taking it that they're seeing it with the eyes of the European. Their type of protection. Not with the African way that teaches you male and female come together twin. If you go Kemet, where there's an Al-Sar, there's an Al-Set. Christianity, that was Adam, that was Eve. Some European made you forget that and told you hey, black woman, you're not protected. That's propaganda. She got to stop listening to that and find the places and find the men that are protected and be together with her man, her family, and fight together. My question is this, Dinah, I mean, why are women saying this? What, no one else is saying this?
No one else.
What?
No one else is saying this.
So they don't see that this is propaganda. That their men are, prime example, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, that man's a hero. He's a hero. He not only shot at them to protect, he protect. This is a today's story. But this man protected the woman, but you're gonna still say that we don't protect our women? They could have killed that man first. And peace and blessings out to her family and every family who has been hurt in that way. So their culture kills us. And their culture is deeply entrenched in the systems that they train us on. And the main systems are public schools and churches. No attack on the churches. It's an attack on the white supremacy and the white culture that's in the churches. King James is not an African. King James is not the one that wrote the Bible. King James did not found the Bible. The first Bible is not the Koine Greek. The first Bible is not in Israel. It is Ethiopia, Nubia. So their culture, that programming, is just really killing us. So our woman is not suffering from protection of the man. Her sight is suffering from the teaching of her oppressor.
Guys, we are opening up the lines again. Email is in the chat room. uhuru@searchforuhuru.com. uhuru@searchforuhuru.com. Send me an email and I will forward you the link. Please call in and ask your questions. Again, uhuru@searchforuhuru.com. And also as well, tour Sierra Leone. We are rolling to Sierra Leone April 21st to the 30th. Come and join us. Again, come and join us. Go to searchforhuru.com or email me uhuru@searchforhuru.com and I will send you a link. Again, we are going to Sierra Leone April 21st to the 30th. Come and join us celebrating Sierra Leone Independence Day, Independence Week. So again, guys, go ahead and call in. All right. Yeah, Cynthia G, if you're watching, call by all means, call in. All right, Fajimoni, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get our brothers to wake up. You know, we'll be arguing all day. If I know somebody on this call is going to take it to the religious point and make it seem like there's an attack on a Christian institution. It's not. That should be that's new information. There should be new information out about the fact that what they're calling Christian institution today is white supremacy, and that there's an entire African piece to the institution of Christianity where rape and molestation is illegal, where the family must protect each other. There's an original Christianity out there, and King James have nothing to do with it. These organized churches today are organized as businesses under the same government that created the black codes, that lynched black folks. Ku Klux Klan is founded as a Christian organization. It was the Southern White Knights, of Ku Klux Klan, or the Southern White Christians of Ku Klux Klan, some other longer name they had. It's a deep institution. So to talk about what the subject is about, but we get demonized for practicing our African way. And I'm not saying this doesn't happen other places, because someone else may come on your show and say, well, you act like, well, this doesn't happen in Lukumi, in Ifa, in Afa, in Vodun. You don't hear about it like this. People in Africa, and I know you know this, Dynas, the community will kill you for actions like that. Am I wrong?
Oh, absolutely. No, without question.
So it's a cultural thing. So, but we get demonized. And on that subject, we all do much of the same things. Like I said earlier, Christians and Hebrews have altars. It's all in the books. The Tanakh, which is with the Torah, the Bible, Muslims. They slay cows and lambs for the Feast of Eid for Muslims. They have naming ceremonies just like Africans have. Why demonize the African? Why demonize the African spirituality when everyone does some of the same things? They all do divination, Diners. You know that?
Right.
There's a history of divination amongst the Arabs where they use arrows. The Qurayshi people, they use arrows for a type of divination. Or they did it in sand. Same like the marks on the upon for practitioners of Ifa and Vodou. Europeans use divination, whether it's zodiac, whether it's cards, lottery books, NASA. They got a whole space study made to either try to predict the weather, but you don't see that as divination. These are white Christians. These are Jews. These are whatever they want to call themselves. Some of them are white Muslims. They do the same things. Indigenous people called Mexicans, who before Mexico was founded, they did everything indigenous. So they all do divination. They all have tribal commonalities. Prophet Muhammad comes from the Qurayshi tribe. He did tribal things before Islam spread. That's a tribal man or prophet. No disrespect to any Muslims. Abraham, tribal. So, why demonize when it's Africans? So it's okay for me to pray and call upon Abraham to help me. It's okay for me to pray and call upon Emmanuel, call Jesus to help me. But it's not okay for me to call upon Olodumare to help me. It's not okay for me to call upon Oshun. Not okay for me to call upon Oshumare. You got to be scared when I bring those names up. If anybody I brought those names up, they jumped. Those, if you have ever taken a DNA test, Diners, and it says you're somewhere from Nigeria, especially if it's a Yoruba place, these are your ancestors' names you're calling.
Right.
And these are the oldest ancestors in the world. So do you want to call on the new people and the power of them to help you? Or do you want to call on the people who are akin to what they call God?
Right.
I want to call on my ancestors. I mean ancient, not the ones just in America. I want to be able to reach down generations. Like they reach for power. So we're empowering them, Diners, by calling upon their families to help us. We're giving them our power. And we're ignoring our ancestors. We don't even call our own mama's name. We'll call one of their ancestors' name before some of us call our own mothers and fathers' name because of their culture. And then, as you and I have seen, but the white folks are going sneaking over there for readings and divination. Am I wrong?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
They're getting initiated. You don't want your tradition, your Isheshe, your Ekon, your Dogon, your Vodun. They do. When this world was run by you, when this world was run by Africans, no one else ran anything but Africans. It was the power of you talking to your ancestors. You didn't have all this new stuff to call on. You had these things. You can see the commonalities in them. You got Ifa in Nigeria. You got Fa in Benin, Togo, Ghana, Central Africa, Asia, all around. You got Afa amongst the Igbo, Ewe, Fulani, and more. You got Falun Dafa in Asia. Falun Dafa is an Asian practice of meditation and more. It's not a coincidence that it's Falun Dafa. The Asians are doing it. It's not a coincidence that you got somebody named Buddha or Bodu from the Bodhi tree, a darker African. Like, this thing goes deep. Not a coincidence that Vodun has Odu as well as Ifa has Odu, Medu, Neter for my Kemet people, Medu, Odu, Odu Ifa, I Ching. Oh, that's a big one. I Ching for the Asians. Some of y'all, I know you may ask questions of what that is. You can look it up for the sake of Dynasty Show. Chi, Chineke, and Chukwu are the name for the creative male-female scene type of what white folks call deity. Chineke, Chukwu. Where it's Ori, or the consciousness is Ori in your Yoruba or Ife. it is more like chi, and I'm sure somebody Igbo will make a correction. You got people in your show love correction, but chi has been around before. We heard it got famous from Asia. And I'm just pointing out how many people, how the world uses the power of Africa. But the African, and some people say I'm not African, and that's one of the biggest things. You got a shirt on saying Africa is the now. They're gonna say, well, skip your Africanus. Professor James Smalls, an Oya priest and a professor of many hats, protected Malcolm X's sister. Again, another male protecting Malcolm X's sister, who was supposed to be said had funded a lot of the things that Malcolm X did. Professor James Smalls stated that the tribe in what they call Carthage, and when they mention Carthage in the Bible, they mention Hannibal, all those people, and Europeans came over to here. The tribe was actually called Afriye. And he used a comparison between Scipio Africanus and like Leo Asiaticus to show that no, they don't name Africa, they don't name the place after the conqueror. They named the conqueror, or so-called conqueror, they named him after the place. And the tribe in the northern Africa was the Afriye. So those who are struggling with using the word Africa to define themselves, you don't have to struggle no more. The information is out there. Professor James Small, I will quote him. And yeah, so it's not, you don't have to demonize the African.
Again, guys, call in Uhuru at, I mean, the lines are open. Go ahead and call in Uhuru at searchforhuru.com. Again, Uhuru at searchforhuru.com. Go ahead and call in, guys. And once again, we are going to Sierra Leone, April 21st to the 30th. April 21st to the 30th. Come and join us. And make sure you hit that like button as well. Hit that like button, everyone.
Dynasty.
Go ahead, brother.
May I say something before you call your next caller?
Man, take your time. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Just making sure. So I remember I called you after we left Africa, and I told you how I wanted to invest or build a school for the diaspora. So we created what's called African Diaspora Academies, and I'll still be seeking when I go back over there. Probably meet up with you or anyone else on the call, seeking a place to build a school, because I learned when I went over there, I read the books that come from the public schools or the Catholic schools of the African children over there. I was proud to see that they teach about their culture, Oduduwa, down to Oyo being founded, down to all the different kings, Unis, Obas, Alafins. But there was still much colonial supremacy, and that was a shock to me that they don't teach them about us at all. And over here, as you know, they don't teach us much about them either. And I mean, continental Africans don't get taught much about the diaspora abroad. They're just coming more into it. And this is in their books that I looked into, and what I'm talking about schools. So what I do, I teach these things at African Diaspora Academies, and I'll be having a class to help people understand more of their history, break down their DNA tests to find out what tribes and what empires they come from. Because as you know, they named most of Africa, they carved it up. They named those places. But you got Mali, Songhai, and we got all the old maps. And we help people find more about themselves and their connection to the continent. So I will be doing a free classes, and I got one tomorrow, Dinah. So if anybody wants to know, they can give you a call or email, or they can email me at naspublishing@gmail.com. I'll be on the call talking about these things, about our DNA, calling on our ancestors, and any questions they have dealing with African diaspora and African spiritual enlightenment, or Ashe, African spiritual enlightenment. I'll be at naspublishing@gmail.com if anyone wants the Zoom information. So I hope that's okay with you.
No, that's fine. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. Again, guys, if you want to call in, Uhuru at searchforhuru.com. If not, we're going to go ahead and start closing out. Hajimoni, I know we kind of got off topic, but I guess the info was still much needed. Uh, anything else you'd like to share in closing?
I mean, you dealt with the church. I mean, it's a disgusting thing, you know, like with that pastor. I didn't want to bring up the pastors in Atlanta, you know, that were in the newspaper about, you know, same thing, molestation, people organization. So in closing, I would just tell people, you know, just find their way to be their African selves. If you're a Christian, be an African-centered Christian. You don't have to use the King James Version when there is an English translation of the Ethiopian and Amharic Bible out there. You're a Muslim, be an African-centered Muslim. Islam does not tell you to destroy your culture. If you're a Buddhist and you're African descent, be African-centered Buddhist. And I would say in closing, and I hope people do get something out of this later, Nuke. We got to be ourselves because their culture kills us, whether it's in our diets, whether we follow their diet, it kills us. We follow their way of doing religion, we kill us. We follow their public school, their education, it kills us. So we're getting killed spiritually, dietarily, or you know, physically. So many ways that's following their culture. So in our original African way that gets demonized, you got to remember, it's what kept us alive for centuries, and it's what we did. Well, we ran the entire world. And I would say peace, love, ashe to everybody, amen to my Christians, salam alaikum to the Muslims, hotep to the Kemet people, Osayo to the, you know, Turtle Island people, things of that nature.
Hey, Fadramoni, we're gonna take 3 calls. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
You got people. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Carrie Aina, I sent you the link. Waiting on you. Pan African Strikes Back. I'm gonna send you the link right now. And then Fafu Malao, I'm gonna send you the link. Everyone, we have 10 minutes each. All right, so 30 more minutes. Is that cool, Fadramoni?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're gonna keep it 7 to 10 minutes top per person. So I just sent the link out. So we are waiting on you guys to call in.
Is that my phone making that static dinosaur? That yours?
Yeah, that's you. Well, I don't know, for some reason when I talk, it starts. Hold on, because when I'm muted. Yeah, so hold on. I'll mute you. There we go. Yeah, so we'll take 3 callers, 7 to 10 minutes. Okay, so here goes Pan Africanism Strikes Back. All right, Brandon, go ahead, bro.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, are you in Kenya?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead, bro.
Got that good Wi-Fi. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the part where he was talking about, you know, the agnomen, the Africanus, the Scipio Africanus name. What that's called is an agnomen, and the name is given to a person who achieves victories in battle in a certain land. So Scipio Africanus, he won great battles in Africa against Hannibal. So then once he went back to Rome, they gave him that agnomen Africanus. So it came long after he was born. He was not born Scipio Africanus. He got that after he had defeated Hannibal. And the proof of this is Caesar, Julius Caesar, right? He was Caesar Germanicus because he had won his great victories in battle in Germania. So wherever you went and won battles at, you were given a agnomen to recognize where you had your great victories. So a lot of people use the Africanus thing as, you know, as an excuse, right? And the reason why people are okay with the guy molesting his daughter and then they criticize African religion is because you how long do you sit up in the synagogue of Satan before you just accept the fact that you're a demon, right? I mean, I was a person who was a Jehovah's Witness. I was deep down in that from birth. But if you're a person who truly wants to know truth, if you really are searching for this truth that the good Lord baby Jesus told you would set you free, then that search cannot be limited to the pages of a book that was given to you by a white man. Whether you believe the Bible's from Africa. You, as a black Negro who came on a slave ship, were handed that by somebody white. You did not come across with it under your arm singing hymns, okay? When he was whooping on you, like on the movie Django, he had the scriptures pinned to his chest, whooping on you. So even if it did come from Africa, it's a bastardized version that you're practicing by way of the European. So we need to just accept people for what they are. If a person looks at the obvious truth and rejects it, that person just isn't an honest person. I mean, I'll tell my own grandma. I told her straight up, I can't deal with you. You're not an honest person. Why? Because you would rather believe falsehood than acknowledge truth when it's right in front of your face. And it's going to be just like baby Jesus told you. He didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. Mother will be against daughter, daughter against mother, father against son. And the reality was he was right. Because once the son started recognizing what the reality was, he going to even turn against his own mama and daddy to let him know that this European cracker religious stuff is no good for our people. And we got to know a new way. So I just want to say that I know there's a lot of people out there struggling with this topic. But if you got to cut off your own family members to operate in truth based on our belief systems, our truth, what's best for us, then you're going to have to do that. Because the reason why you constantly lose is because you give no honor to your ancestors. You worship European and Arab ancestors and then wonder why the European and Arab dominates you. Well, your ancestors have no reason to bless you because who are you? You give all your energy to everybody else's God, and their God benefits them, while your God sit over and starve and can't even benefit you. So it's just a simple matter of, are we going to put the truth over falsehood? And I believe in this day and age, we have access to an unprecedented level of information. And if you don't use that information to pull yourself out of the darkness and into the light, then you're just wasted. But that's really all I want to say. And yes, I'm in Kenya, man, having the time of my life.
When are you coming back, Brandon?
I'll be back on the 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just here looking at a bunch of land and stuff like that, meeting up with my peoples, just looking at different parcels of land.
Okay. That's what's up, brother.
Yeah.
You want to respond to that real quick, Vajramoni?
Did he fall off?
Oh, he fell off. Oh, yeah, he fell off. Oh, shit.
He probably trying to come back.
No, not yet. No, I don't see him.
Yeah. But yeah,
Man.
the brother was speaking straight facts, especially when he talked about the Caesar Germanic, the Scipio Africanus thing, because everybody and their mama uses that excuse when all you got to do is go look up even if you look in the Encyclopedia Britannica, you could look it up online, type in Publius Scipio Africanus, and clear as day it tells you he was given this agnomen after defeating Hannibal, and they when he went back to Rome, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious facts, but people don't look at the information for the truth. They look at the information to support what they already want to believe. And we just got to stop that, man. My grandma told me one day, when I proved her wrong so many times, she said, well, whatever the Bible say, that's just what I'm going to believe. So once she acknowledged and admitted that her mind was controlled by European Judeo-Christian ideology, there was no more conversation about religion to be had. But what we do is we keep thinking we're going to drag people out of ignorance, and you're not.
Okay. Vajramoni, you want to respond to that, Vajramoni?
Yeah, I missed some of it. I was trying to get my phone back together, so the static gone now.
Okay.
I don't think we disagree, though, Brother Brandon. I don't think we disagree much of that, of what I did here, as far as starting back with the Scipio Africanus, Leo Africanus. Is more than one, but they didn't fight the whole Africa. Just to backtrack on that, the man didn't win a war against the whole Africa. He went only to the part back Carthage where the Afrique tribe actually lived. So if he got the name Africanus, it's from one small area. So I don't think we disagree. We both know the man ain't fought the whole continent. Ain't happening.
Well, they went to the part that was close to Italy. If you look at the map, Italy and North Africa is right there. So, you know, they ain't got no technology like that. But the thing is, yeah, the Free Tribe. That's where the whole continent of Africa is named after, the Free Tribe. Just like you said, you were dead on point. And somebody asked how to spell agnomen. It's Agnomen. Agnomen. And you can just Google that, and it'll pop up, and it'll be clear. But yeah, that guy, he defeated Hannibal. You know, Hannibal made some strategic errors, you know, but and that was it. And now you got all these hundreds of years later, you got people swearing, oh, Africa was named after a white man. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's stupid.
What was your comment to Dinah's question subject line of, you know, all this stuff is happening and has been happening in these churches, but yet they demonize the African
because we are, it's just like Dr. Amos Wilson said, we are possessed by European demons. How you gonna sit up in a demonic synagogue for decades and then say you not possessed by demons, right? You would be a fool to think that. And that's why a lot of these people, when you come at them with real facts, once you've basically destroyed their surface level arguments or rebuttals, they just get to the point where they start clogging up their ears and they don't want to hear it. You ever saw one of those movies where there's like a demon possessed person and the priest or whatever starts reciting the priestly crap? What they do, they put their hands over their ears and they don't want to hear it because it's hurting them. And if you look at our people, that's what we do when we hear the truth about our ancestors and our true spirituality. We put our hands over our ears because that European demon inside of us is being destroyed by that, and that demon's controlling us. So what it does is it causes us to reject it, even to the point of just, no, I'm not listening to this and stuff. And a lot of times you will hear those people sound possessed, like they really be sounding possessed. And I sit there and I listen, and I'm like, am I talking to like a demon right now? Because I'm putting facts based in reality right here in front of them, and they're throwing a bunch of regurgitated. I mean, do you really believe a dude put 2 animals of every kind on an ark? Like, anytime I talk to a Hebrew Israelite, this is the first thing I gotta say. You telling me, bro, Noah put 2 of each animal on an ark? When you realize the level of psychological conditioning one has to go through to even begin to believe this crap, you see that there are forces that are greater than what we perceive at play here. That's why the religion is taught at a young age. My daughter doesn't even know who Jesus is, and my daughter don't know who Shango is either. But I'm not going to indoctrinate her from a young age. When she gets older, she can decide what she wants to do. We got that Bible from birth. I got that Bible. I can recite scriptures with the best of them, I'm telling you. But I never had a chance. I was plugged into the matrix from birth. I never knew anything else, but I wanted to see the light. And so I searched for truth. And if you search for truth, you will find it. And if you search within yourself, it's already in you. That's why people sit up in church and be in there, you know, asking questions in their mind. But once you learn to suppress your natural inhibitions and your natural curiosities, well, then you're a perfect candidate for baby Jesus, because now he got himself a robot.
I can see how I agree with you. Look at everywhere we go. No matter where we go, we uplift and we increase the spirituality of it. It don't matter if you put us in the Buddhist temple. It don't matter if you put us into Hindi. We are the power. We increase wherever we go.
Hey, Fajimoni, everybody talking about Moses was a black man. Adam was a black man. Listen, I don't care if he was green. Ain't no man on earth put 2 animals of every kind in no boat. If you can't do that right now, with modern technology, I know nobody's sitting over in the desert of freaking, well, they say he was maybe in Africa, but then they moved him to Mount Ararat. So all the animals got released in the middle of a desert in Turkey, right? It makes no geographical sense, but they don't look at it like that. But you can change the color of it all you want to. Either way you want to put it, it was fake, period. It ain't real. It's fake. Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. So that dude knew 2,000 years of history that he never was there to experience. It don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? The dude just made some. He could have, if he did exist, he just made some stuff up, and you in here now believing it, getting whooped. If you was believing it and you was winning, right? I don't want to be God's chosen people, because God's chosen people in the Bible take a bunch of L's. Can we stop being the chosen people? Because that means you got to get whooped to be God's chosen people. I don't want to get whooped no more. Let me be one of the pagans and get some W's. You know what I'm saying? Send me to the team and let me get a couple of wins. You know, but we're just caught up in this religious prison. Our mind is in a trap, and some of us gonna be able to get out of it, and some of us aren't. And like Nipsey Hussle said, when we start talking to the ones who ain't ready to be free, it's gonna be like we talking a foreign language to them. They want to double down on that ignorance, put their head in the dirt.
Hey, well, Brandon, we appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thanks.
All right, for sure. Peace.
Peace.
All right, Fafa Milan, go ahead.
Bora boya boshishe baba fajimoni orioni. You're muted.
Let me unmute.
She alafia ni aburumi. Omo oba adewale.
Alafia
Okay,
Say
great.
Dadani.
Amo adada. Okay, so I missed a lot. Peace to everyone in the chat and everyone viewing too. I missed a lot, but I turned over and I picked up my phone and I saw a notification and I saw the topic and I decided to come on, and then I saw Baba Fajimoni here on this topic. So if time is going, can you just catch me up to? Okay, so you know me, I could just go on and on about something like this.
Let me ask you. Here we go, Fafa Milan. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me get your honest opinion. When we have examples of sexual abuse that's taking place in a household, I'm noticing this is not to remove any blame from these perverted men that sexually abuse their daughters or stepdaughters or whatever. I'm noticing that a lot of times the mothers are kind of sweeping it under the rug. Can you? What are your thoughts on that? There we go.
Well, this is a frequent conversation. Even Fajimoni and I have spoken about stuff like this. This is it is learned behavior, survival behavior, not justified, not healthy, but it is coming from generations and generations, because a lot of times if that man is the woman's source of income. See, I got into a discussion about this on Facebook the other day. Why it's really important for relationships to not be a source of income. You know what I mean? Because when you have when your relationship is solely just a source of income, it breeds this type of behavior where the mom is willing to sweep it under the carpet, act like it didn't happen, tell the daughter or the son that he's lying. So oftentimes it's that's the main reason. He pays the bills. We ain't got nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Or disgrace, shame, or I went through it. It happened to me. I was fine. My mama did, and her mama too. Again, this is learned behavior. This is also something that is not all the time, often encoded in genetics, because remember, our women and even our men were being raped and molested by the slave masters.
Right.
And religion was one of those things that was used to push that too. So this whole molestation thing, even tied to religion or Christianity, I mean, it's something that, we have ourselves to also hold accountable for, because we've allowed it to go on for centuries. They'll come for the spiritual woman or the spiritual man and burn them on the cross and tell them, oh, we witch hunting and burning because they're spiritualists, right? But they haven't harmed anyone. They prove that they have a little power to make something happen. They haven't harmed anyone in the village or the community. but no churches are burning down, you know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we've allowed these things to go on. And so as far as why do moms push these things under the carpet to keep it hush hush, it's self hate. You don't love yourself or your children enough to put a stop to it because you're too codependent or too dependent on the other person. You feel like, he's all I got. He's the one, you know, and it just there's a long history of women putting their men before their daughters. It's sickness, it's mental illness, and it doesn't start with that mom. Again, learned behavior. So it's just work that needs to be done, and more needs to be held accountable for it. Um, you know, as far as I want to touch on the top. Did I answer the question, or do you
Yeah,
have
no,
anything else to?
you answered it. You answered it.
Yeah. So as far as the church is concerned, I heard what our brother Brian was saying about the demonic stuff and the listening. So I haven't witnessed anybody in church putting their hands over their ears and whatnot, but I have witnessed basically another form of that happening. Um, and I was one of them where, I even got baptized and was disappointed. I was baptized twice growing up. And I remember coming out the water feeling extremely disappointed because I was supposed to come up speaking in tongues and sounding just like the pastor. And they told me all you had to do is open your mouth and just talk, it'll come out. And I never connected, but I always remembered there were times when I would just be sitting there just saying, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't, feel good. When, you know, there was, a supposed possession of the Holy Spirit. I'm filled with the Holy Ghost. Now I'm not bashing the Christianity. I'm not bashing anybody that can speak in tongues. I'm not, but I am saying that oftentimes when it is perceived or thought that someone is speaking in tongues or the tongue of the so-called Holy Ghost, it really isn't. And of course, those of us who know about or practice African spirituality, we know that yes, spirit possession is real. You either live it, you see it on TV, you witness it. It's a form of divination in African tradition, where the priest will sit before you or the priest and they are literally possessed, speaking. So we know the spirit possession, and it is not necessarily evil. It can be either or. So it same goes for the church. Yeah, there are times when they are filled or, there's a possession of a benevolent spirit. But who's there to identify these things? And that's the thing. And so one thing that's preached in Christianity is having a discerning spirit, being able to discern what type of spirit you're dealing with, or truth from lies and stuff like that. But there's so much brainwashing and hypnotism that goes on. It's like you lose your ability to discern. So everything that's being fed to you, just sit there and even when it doesn't feel good, you sit there and wallow it up. So we have this Ghanaian pastor that murdered his wife a couple weeks ago.
Was there a motive for that? Was there a motive? Did they ever find a motive for that?
I saw the video. All he kept saying was that she's a witch. There was a video where her and I think her sister and her sister's husband, or her brother and her brother's sister, it was like a sibling and an in-law. They went over to the house. They were intervening. They were saying that she just needed to get what she can get and go, leave everything behind. Divorce papers were there. And, he starts going off the male presence there, whether he was the in-law or the sibling, was tackling him, choking him, the husband, the one that, because apparently he had been abusing her prior to. And they were like, it's not worth it. You need to leave. The man has threatened you, And the husband got in his face and said, your sister is a witch. She's a witch. So this goes back to, and he's like, mark my word. He said, if I don't kill her, then I'm something he said, like basically it's
Oh,
like
he
I'm a
said,
liar or something.
wow.
He said it. Yeah, but the video was out there. He said if I don't kill her, like he's basically saying, I told you I'm gonna kill her, therefore I'm gonna kill her. Like hold me to it if I don't. And at that point they should have taken some that the authorities should have gotten involved. But maybe we're living in a world where we can't even call the police anymore, right? So I don't know, but if it were me, I know what would have happened to him. if that were my sister, I know where he would have ended up. You don't threaten to kill one of mine. And this again goes back to the tolerance, how we accept these things coming out of the church. Then we see this man kills the wife, and his followers, within his congregation, and Christians all over the world praying for him, talking about, it was the devil because he claimed it was the devil. So let's forgive him. Let's turn the other cheek. The man just murdered his wife, so we're all pleading, turn the other cheek. So yeah, this guy's gonna get away with molesting his daughter, and they're still gonna turn around and demonize African spirituality. It's been going on. I'm sorry. Okay.
No.
Fajimoni's not
Go
even on.
ahead. I was gonna let Fajimoni respond.
Yeah, let him go. I don't even see him on. Go ahead. You can interject.
Fajimani, you want to respond?
I don't see him on.
Make
He's
him
in the
drop.
back room.
Oh, here we go. Fajimani, you want to respond?
Well, I wanted to ask her a question.
Go ahead.
Since thanks for reporting on this pastor in the church and all this disgusting deed, do you think that the what's seen as the African way of males having multiple wives to make sure that more women have more males involved? Or do you think what in the African culture you think could have prevented someone from being like that, or what do you think? What would have happened with such
I
a
got an easy
pastor?
answer.
In Africa,
Before you even, okay, but you don't even have to finish the question. Okay, so here we go, Fajimon. Ready? We're going to do this. First off, again, like I said, I was having this conversation on Facebook the other day. I said the difference between religion and spirituality, or religion and African spirituality, having a real awareness and connection to universal law, cosmic forces, the way energies work, power, spirits, tradition, and African spirituality, African tradition holds you accountable. You learn from a very young age, even though, yes, you got good and evil. So, people are going to say, oh, you got this. Again, it's in the hand, it depends on the beholder. But we learn very early on that if you do this, cause and effect, if you do this, then this is the repercussion. You know, the gods are going to come for you, the Orisha are going to come for you, the Bodun, the Lua, the Abosom, the Nanama, they're going to come for you if you do this thing, or somebody might curse you, somebody might throw something on you if you do this thing. So therefore, so let's speak for Ifa. Iwakwele is and Ira Iwakwele and Iwa Rere
Iwarere.
is pushed into you from day one. Good character, always make the best decision, always make a wise choice, because you're taught your karma is real, and it's true. It's not, you know what I mean. It's save all the preaching. Just know that if you do this, then this brings about this, and it might not be immediate. Then we preach suru, right? So
Right.
the other
So
thing
there's no
is
way for
what
heaven and hell
happens.
to be punished. It's gonna happen now.
It's happening right now. It's gonna happen. You're gonna live to see it. Retribution is a must. So you're either going to be rewarded for your deeds or punished for your misdeeds, one way or another. And now I know you were going to ask, how do you think they would handle the situation if it were amongst our own? Okay, there would be some burning tires around him. You
Oh
know,
wow.
am I lying? Can somebody tell me if I'm wrong or what? Like how these things get dealt
It's
with.
videos of it on
This is
like social media. It's video
right,
of village
right.
justice.
They will chop your head open, they get a machete, chop you, they burn you alive. It's not acceptable. Once you're caught, it's not going unpunished. Hence why I say Our own people are to be held responsible. I didn't say blamed. I didn't say take the fault. And before anybody attacks me, go look up the definition and do some research on the word responsibility. It is our own people's responsibility to ensure that these things don't happen. We are to be held accountable for it happening this long. I'm not saying for anybody to go out there and burn nobody up. I didn't say that. I didn't say for anybody to go out there and do anything valid. I'm just saying that there is something critically wrong with our way of thinking and the things that we tolerate, the injustices that we tolerate against our
it's just
own.
the black sister. It's just
We were
the
taught
diaspora.
we were taught to be this way. When do we take responsibility though for our own actions, regardless of what we were taught? You know right, you do right. You know what I'm saying? So there's no excuse, So there are different ways to hold people accountable, because and there are different ways to hold people. And I'm just saying how it's done over here in Jamaica. And I'm gonna go get cut less, and your head might chop off. You might see a man running down the street with half of his head on and an arm gone. It are different ways around the world. Again, I'm not saying that you guys is supposed to go do this anywhere. I'm not saying that. However, there's an equivalent. There's another way. It's like when we have ebo to do and you don't have the suggested materials for the ebo, you can ask Ifa, can we use this instead? And Ifa will say, yeah, go ahead, use some oying, some epo instead, whatever. There are different ways, but these things continue to happen because we allow them to happen. Point blank, the justice system is not going to do anything about it.
But why? But
Religion
why do
rules
we
the
allow them
justice
to happen?
system. Pardon?
Why? But
Why
why do
what?
we
Does it
allow it to
happen?
happen? Why do those in America that
We
allow those
don't
things like
value
imprisonment?
ourselves. Okay, so here we go. For one, we don't value ourselves enough. We still have an inferiority complex, but it's driven by a white supremacist complex. So where we actually still subconsciously, and let me take we out of that because I'm I'm detached from that, thank God. But our people, a lot of them, not all, subconsciously still worship or idolize or find the white man to be more superior. Okay, so the way religion is practiced in America, it is not ours. I don't care who says, oh, it started in Africa. This, like, the way that religion is practiced in the West, it is not our original way, regardless of what the system is, what are the religion or the denomination. Um, and the things that are happening that we allow to happen were things that the oppressors were doing to our mothers and fathers. And then I hate, using these cliche terms, but they're real. So then we have the Stockholm syndrome thing that bleeds in beneath the surface behind our skin color. It's still there. We he's human, and oh, the devil is working, oh, and we got to pray for him because the temptations, there's evil on the earth right now, we all getting tried, and we just got to pray for Pastor so and so, and we all transgress, and we know that if we pray Jesus Christ to take away, he died for our sins, he's already forgiven. You're already forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
You already, go ahead, go do it again. It's just going to be forgiven again. And let it be a Catholic. If the priest pray for you, within a certain amount of time after you pass, you're going to heaven. No matter how many lives you took, you're going to heaven because Father so and so, priest so and so prayed for you. That's why. Again, it's this white idolization that we fail to accept is really brewing underneath the surface. But again, lack of love for ourselves, because if we truly loved ourselves, then we would love our own people, and we would fight, we would stand up for ourselves. We would not tolerate injustices. See, this is where I say there's pros and cons when it comes to tribalism, because tribes, they go out and fight for their own. So that was a special part of us. So there are negatives and positives with everything, right? So one thing about African people, if you notice, is that when you offend one, you offend all. Not all. No, that part of us is going. It's being washed away by religion. Turn the other cheek. Don't worry. Don't go fight for your village. Don't fight for your tribe. Don't fight for your people. Don't fight for your country. Fight for Jesus. You know. So I'm gonna pause for a second. I'll pause for a second. There's
Okay.
someone else. I'll just be quiet for a moment.
Yeah, Mary Ana, go ahead.
Thank you, Dynast, for letting me on this channel. Dynast, I'd first like to say that you are an inspiration, not to take too much of your time, but thank you, Dynast, for all that you do. And no, and Fafa Malaya, you are just, oh my gosh, you are just a gem. You basically said everything that there is to say. Let me tell you guys this. My first name happens to be Mary. Why is that? I'm Nigerian. My name is Mary because a long time ago, when these colonizers came to our country, you had to change your name. Not in all cases, but to assimilate better into their culture, to assimilate better into their schools, to assimilate better into their churches. It's seen as better for you to adopt their names. The name Mary comes from the Bible.
Mhm.
It's like, if you guys don't understand the deep conditioning, I don't know what to tell you. By the way, yes, I am working on changing my name back to my natural name before this name was taken, but it goes really deep. It goes really deep because where did I get this behavior from? I got this behavior from my mom, who got it from my grandparent. Before then, what the heck was Mary in Nigeria? What was that? That didn't even exist. Now, that same Mary, that same Jesus is tearing families apart. It's letting pastors rape people, do horrible things. It's keeping brothers against one another. It's absolutely horrible, and it's absolutely disgusting. It really
Miss
is. When
Sister Mary, may I ask
yeah,
you a question? What has it done to your country and tribe since it hit, the continent? What stories have you heard that, what happened when the missionaries came to the continent? What did it do to
oh
your
well,
area?
they built schools and all that kind of stuff. And apparently, Dynas has said this before. They gave us free food, basically.
Right.
They gave us free food.
And,
So,
and, and the free food was justification enough to change your name to Mary.
oh, of course. And to
Yeah.
this day, it's like, why can't even like we build our own schools? Like, that was so long ago. Well, why are we still holding on to that nonsense? It's absolutely disgusting and it's gross. And I used to be one of those people who, a year ago, if we had these type of conversations, I would be like, you guys are crazy. But I definitely have seen the light. Like, if guys, anybody who is, I'm not trying to make fun of like people who are diehard Christians, but I'm just saying the Bible is telling you guys that women are the fall of man. And you guys are eating that up, justifying that every single way. We put these people above our own selves, their images 24/7 over us. And Fafa Malayo did a great job of explaining how that hurts us globally, not just in Nigeria, but even with the whole ADOS thing, how that has crippled and continues to cripple that community as well. I'm really not going to go too deep into it, but that's basically what I wanted to say for right now. It goes really deep though.
You want to respond to that, Fajimoni?
I mean, she said everything, perfectly. I mean, this is her family's experience. Taking it to her family is totally from the continent. Uh, they've been dealing with these things. There's been destruction of Isheshe traditional shrines here, there from other European religions. So for the name of the European and Indo-European, civil wars have happened across the continent. There are uh, religious versus Isheshe tradition or spiritual wars happening across the continent. And basically, we're in a war between ourselves where we have to talk about the male not protecting the female based out of what? Out of what they say, what they do, what their culture says about what we should do. and we're softened to the point to where we're allowing, like as Sister said, and as Sister Papa Malayo said, we're allowing these people this for a civil case, a civil settlement. This man is going to keep his church, his life, and lose possibly some money, and that's if he loses. So that's my response to that, and I would like to support what she said. We should not allow what they teach us using our African Bible, because it was African first, to teach us to be apart from each other and to keep us fighting and to keep us from being married and staying in our relationships and raising our children the way we want, in a tradition that belongs to us. So I totally support the sister, and we do. And it's so much bickering. Even on some your shows, Dinah, not from you, but people back and forth, male versus female. It's always something different on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. Some male and female fight has been started. No one even knows where it comes from. We just respond against each other. Like we're taught to look for a reason to be against each other and not to find a reason to love one another. And that's ridiculous. So I just say let's keep our families together. And for me, let's keep our straight love going.
Far from law. Mary,
Shay.
anything else you'd like to add, Mary?
No, that's it.
That's it.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem.
So, Mary.
She
She can. I guess she can hear me.
Yeah, she hear you.
Where
Go
did
ahead.
Fajimani go? Okay, hold on.
But go ahead.
Okay, see, you guys can't see me, right? It's dark. I'm sure
It's
you
dark,
guys can't see me. So, Mary, I hope she's here, and if not, she'll go back and listen. Well, I'm here on the continent, and much of my discussion has been around what she's expressing. And I'd have to say that I knew that the same thing was happening in Ghana as in Nigeria, but I didn't. It's way more intense.
Right.
It's way more intense, and there's a lot of work cut out for us to do as far as just unifying first, because nobody's going to listen to anyone. I'm finally meeting other diasporans now, because where I am, I'm kind of isolated. I'm not in Accra, I'm not in the city and everything. And I'm hearing the stories, the horror stories based on their experiences. And then I'm hearing the stories based coming from the locals based on their displeasures and stuff. And it always comes down to religion. Because the majority, not all, of the diasporans that are coming back home, they're African tradition centered, African centered. Not everybody, but quite a bit. And so there are these debates that I'm finding that are happening everywhere, and it's deep. It's deep, But if there's no respect and there's no love and there's no intention to unify, then nobody wants to hear. So we can't go anywhere, because at the end of the day, the main objective is or should be us remembering who we really are and what our divine purpose here is on this planet. And we're supposed to be figuring out how to save our race and how to save this continent. And to me, there is no saving America, so I don't even want to hear about it. But we are supposed to be concentrated on saving our race, preserving our race and this continent and our birthright. And I say birthright, those who were taken away and those who remained. The whole world is fighting for this country. China's in the lead. In Ghana alone, Ghana has the highest population of Chinese people. It's over 700,000 in small Ghana. There is a silent war going on. I don't even want, that's a whole nother show, I guess, or a whole nother topic. But these conversations can happen all day. There'll be truth. There'll be ignorance. There'll be, deliverance or, epiphanies and whatnot. But until we can all come to a common understanding and agreement that we really have to save each other, life, and in order for us to do that, this is why ancestor reverence, I don't like to say ancestor worship, but ancestor reverence and honor is very important because they tell the story. It's like backtracking your steps. The whole Sankofa concept, since I'm in Ghana, I'll just use that word. You know, you can't just go back halfway. We going half-ass forward, half-ass backward. You have to retract, go all the way back to the beginning and really examine and look at how we were then. What happened to change it all? And you have to undo it. There are knots tied. You have to undo the knots. And you have to undo the knots the same way they were put there. And people refuse to accept that. So first and foremost, the most important thing is developing trust amongst one another. We're all fighting for the same thing, and that is for our respect, our right to live, our birthright, health, and a legacy. It's a very African thing, legacy. What am I going to leave for my family? What am I going to leave for my children? What am I going to leave for the generation? What am I going to leave for my tribe? Yes, I said tribe. Like I'm learning so much about the Ashanti people here. They're the richest people in Ghana, the richest tribe in Ghana, because they're all about what are we going to do for our tribe. They do business. They're like the Indians and the Chinese. They do business with themselves for the most part. They'll go outside, but they look after their own because that's important. You know what I'm saying? Long after they're gone. So we need to get to that point where it's really one big old tribe, and it's called melanin rich carbon rich skin, rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Spicy people. That's the tribe. Uh-huh.
I go. Omo
Yeah.
Oba Dinus.
Yo.
Omo Oba. So, I mean, we're both here. I'm far from Malayo, We're both practitioners, and Dinus mentioned, how they let that happen, but they demonize West Africans. Do you feel like these two brothers on this show, do you feel not protected with these two brothers? What, Dr. Nas?
Do I feel
With two
not
African
protected?
practitioners. Do you feel like we don't
You mean
protect?
you and Dinah?
Dinus and I. If something
Oh,
happened with you or your family, we heard about it. Do you feel like we
nah.
won't protect? We won't help?
Nah, look, y'all are my brothers. Like I see, people don't know. You guys are. I feel safe. I know I could talk to either one of you about anything, and if I need help, Dinus is always. He's there for me. He lets me know that, and so do you. You always let me know that. And there's nothing. I'll tell everybody in case you're wondering. Ain't nothing going on. Never been nothing. These are two Black African-centered men who understand, regardless of what interpretation you guys have, they understand the importance of looking out for and protecting the Black woman. And I'm one of those women. I'm on the receiving end of that, and I feel loved and protected and appreciated because their minds are in the right place, regardless of the misconception. All the opinions. You people don't take time to really hear. This is what I'm talking about, that discerning spirit. You got to know. You have to see past and hear past what's in front of you in the words. Stop listening to everybody else and focus on what resonates with your spirit. When somebody is before you, when they're speaking to you, it's your individual consciousness, your own spiritual mind. So I can vouch. I feel safe, and I want to see that happening. But I'm gonna be honest. Walking down the street where I live now in Ghana, do I feel safe? No. When I was in Nigeria, there's some places I felt safe, some places I didn't. And I know it's the same for Ghana, but I haven't been to those places yet. It's a shame because we're disconnected. I go to the market and I'd be loading up with bags and stuff, right? And once upon a time, I know, like in Jamaica, and I heard about the stories before, the men who come rushing to take the bags. You know what I'm saying? Ma, auntie, whatever. They don't care. If you're not putting some money in their hand, No, and it's the same thing in America. It's the same. So again, globally, if Sister Mary is listening, yes, globally, it's a thing. So black men rise up around the world. It's race first. We're being exterminated. In Cameroon, there is what you call a silent genocide right now. Millions are being killed. Little children, as young as actually literally half of the people being killed daily are children under the age of 5. Okay, they're not giving them a chance. So if
Well,
anybody, it takes common sense to know that, you gotta kill religion, man. At the end, like you have your religion if you want to, but that cannot be at the forefront anymore.
I mean, make it African centered. You know, I mean, you can have what you
Yeah,
want, but no matter what
right.
happens, you could be a diaspora Muslim, diaspora Christian. They not about to ask you what your religion are when they kill it. They don't, and they won't.
What?
But I want to ask you that question. Let the sisters know that African centered, African minded, African spiritual, enlightened brothers do protect. And I just want them to know that
Hmm.
we love them. We're here to protect. We see you. Make sure you're protected. And I don't know if they know that about Dynasty. So the ones who know him, I'm sure they do. But I've seen them say stuff on the show like, "You let him say this, you let him say that." I'm like, he didn't let anything. I know Dynasty was, he had a conversation with him. He set people straight. So
But
I
here's
want
the
them to know.
thing. Here's the thing. There are two things I want to touch on. Remind me. The second thing was Dynasty and he let. The first thing is the reason why I don't respect religion, especially I didn't say hate it, don't like it. I don't respect Christianity is because of the hypocrisy. So I've witnessed one too many times the pastor or sister so and so creeping out from the house, coming to see the Akomfo, the Babalawo, the Juju man, the fetish priest, and go jump up the next Sunday or the Wednesday, Thursday, every other day of the week that church is keeping, and join the rest of the congregation in preaching against African tradition. If it was enough for you, why did you still come to the traditionalists to aid you? Why does the priest come to the Babalawo, the herbalist, the Akomfo, the fetish priest, or whatever? Why? Okay, so that's food for thought. It shouldn't be because you guys all know a lot of you guys go get tarot card Christians every Sunday after church, sneak off to go to the tea house for a tarot card reading or rune reading. You know, you're into your numerology and your astrology. So whatever, away with the hypocrisy. That has to, so you either, just be real, you know. The other part now, oh, Dinus, let this.
Go ahead.
Our people have to stop being so ignorant and sounding so unintelligent because we're smarter than this. When there's an interview happening, there's an interviewee and the interviewer. The interviewee can say whatever the heck they want to say. The most important thing is that the interviewee is being respectful because, again, remember, everyone has a right to their opinion, right? So I have called Dinus a couple times, a couple times about things that certain guests have said, and I feel like they shouldn't be allowed to carry on because it's disrespectful to the space and to the people. Y'all, I'm tired. What time is it? Shoot, I'm sorry, I'm rubbing my eyes. I'm tired. But as far as letting people express their opinion, that is supposed to happen. It's a, that's what the space is open for. Um, it says something about a person that tries to control everything that comes out of someone else's mouth. Just because we don't agree with what someone is saying doesn't mean that we're supposed to control what they say. We listen and we learn. If we don't agree with what they're saying, at least we're learning something about the person. So now we see what kind of person this is because of what's coming out of their mouth, right? I'm sorry, I don't know what kind of creature I look like in the dark. But so there have been times where right after the show, I called Brody, yo, hey, I'm over. What the hell? You know, but you know, you have to understand, family, that if there's an interview or the platform is open, there's, you guys live in a country, you say freedom of speech, right? You guys allow the white supremacists to whatever. Let me shut up. Anyway, it's not right to condemn our brother or anybody else for having a guest on the show and certain things are coming out of their mouth. Don't condemn him, but there's always a way to take it up with the person individually. There's a way to contact whoever comes on the show. Contact them if you have a problem with what they're saying, because Omo Dynas is all he's doing is allowing the floor for the person to speak. Questions will be said, will be asked. Dynas will give his opinion, But I mean, you guys watch the Oprah show and all these other shows. People say things you don't have to agree, but the caller or the guest should be respectful. And I've been on the receiving end of some very disrespectful guests, and I don't go after Dynas for it. I go directly with that person because it was directed at me. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand there's an art, there's a method to interviewing people. So people are gonna come and people are gonna say, okay, we're humans. Well, you arguing with the wrong people. You guys want to argue with the people that are trying to help you. Dynas is one of many platforms, one of many entities, one of many people that have a YouTube platform that is doing what he's doing, okay? But he's helping. If you tune into his show, you tune into their show, anybody, you got to respect these people and appreciate them. We sit here and this is why we're not going anywhere, because we nitpick and pick each other apart to pieces. For what? Take the medicine. Take the help. There's so much information being given and you don't say thank you. The moment a guest comes on or the moment he says something you don't agree with, then he's an agent. He's a hypocrite. Oh, he's a Trump supporter. Oh, you fake. You this. You that. You guys do it to everybody. He's not the only one that you guys do it to. What are you doing with the food that's being given to you? Can you take a moment to digest that and go do something with your life instead of complaining and being miserable all the time? That's sickness. So that's all I'll say to that.
Okay. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and start closing out. We'll go ahead and close out. Fajimoni. Well, if Fafu Malal, what would you like to share in closing?
Hold these people accountable. Hold any and everybody accountable for injustice that they do against their ways of doing it without doing illegal stuff. And I'm gonna tell you, everybody knows me. I'm all for spirituality. Yes, I go to spirituality every single time because I'm not a hypocrite and I practice what I preach. So if you hurt one of mine, or if there's a problem that needs to be dealt with, and you understand that we're spiritual beings, then we know that we need to operate from a spiritual place, even to back the physical actions, even to, it's always a spiritual happening. So I'll just say that. Okay.
Fajimoni, go ahead, brother.
Mojuba Oyuba, Ati Mojuba Egun Wa, Ati Mojuba Ozamare, Mojuba Ashu, Mojuba Omo Oba Dennis. I salute the ancestors. I salute Eshu. I salute Ozamare. I salute the consciousness of you all, and thank Dynas for having this show, this platform, and the way he does it, which is true freedom of speech and true spirit of the African. Peace and love, everybody. Oh, yeah, by the way, again, African Diaspora Academies, Sundays, 3 p.m., Zoom. You can email me for any teachings or anything we want to share on the knowledge of self, Africa, DNA breakdown to the empire tribe you deal with, or just break it down your DNA, or assist with spirituality, business, NASpublishing@gmail.com. Anybody, let me know. Peace and love.
For sure.
Dabo.
Peace.
Odaro. Everyone, thank you so much for
Odava.
joining. Like, share, subscribe.
I should go.
Make sure you guys go to dynastymirror.com. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.
Peace.